Among Us has quickly become a delayed success on PC, Android, iOS and Windows, after a lukewarm reception back in 2018, as it delighted players around the world with a thrilling mashup of science fiction murder mystery. In the last month, its popularity has skyrocketed and has become the #1 trending gaming culture during September. The game is pursued by a crew of spaceships that attempt to complete onboard tasks, as up to 3 players try to destroy their teammates. Figuring out which player or players are chasing them down is up to the rest of the crew. Hold on, we haven't seen this in the past, but with more blood. Okay, sure, with a single snarl of the body horror madness of John Carpenter's The Thing, Among Us may not feature aliens and a Murph Hunter with the power to make your blood run cold, but it follows similarly scary themes. The fear that hangs over the crew as innocent individuals are knocked off one by one, a murderer hiding in plain sight. And yet, Among Us is somehow the most wholesome version of the 2 iconic titles in the horror genre, despite all the murder and the growing mistrust between the crew. It largely comes from the requisite teamwork that goes hand in hand with finding out behind the killings the culprit or culprits. Since the ship, or the mere HQ and Polis Outpost maps, has the potential to sabotage imposters, crewmates have to work together to repair the problem. Innocent players are hampered by a lack of vision on the screen, oxygen can be drained out of the ship, or a reactor failure can be caused, depending on what mechanism is sabotaged. The imposters will win if that happens. But working together is imperative to avoid it from happening. There are plenty of tasks to keep players busy, and it seems like many crewmates have studied the best ways to complete each job. While other multiplayer games band players into teams, either slaughtering rival squads or dominating a map, they also work towards a brutal target. The necessities of the many outweigh the few. Yeah, we all hurried right at the beginning to complete a simple task to prove we're not guilty, since imposters can only claim to complete them, but working together in groups to complete tasks is the most important aspect, particularly in the endgame, when the imposters can try to separate the crew to make things even more confusing. Break up and cover the land more. Oh, no shot. The adventures of Ellen Ripley have taught us that heading alone is a surefire way to get a cold-blooded murderer butchered in a dark hallway, or rather, acid-blooded. It's important to stick together as a team, and it's that player teamwork that makes Among Us so safe. The video games industry has been bombarded for decades with charges of being too excessively violent, and having a negative effect on players, particularly younger kids. But the best case against that is Among Us. While it promotes the value of teamwork in completing assignments, and constructing the identity of the imposter in meetings, it also allows players to think beyond the box, if they are given the murderous part to play. Since imposters are the only ones capable of using vents to travel across the map, players have to carefully choose their moments to avoid being spotted, or use forward thinking to outmaneuver their opponents. You tell, vents. Okay, doesn't the iconic franchise founded by Ridley Scott in 1979 sound horribly familiar? There is nothing more disturbing than when the xenomorph is tracked by Dallas through the vents and screams in his face, before snatching him away into the dark. The deaths in Among Us are certainly slightly brutal, but they're also hilarious. The sheer ludicrous magnitude of the murder animations undercuts their ferocity. Evidently, our favorite is the needle tongue. It's flawless. The over-the-top deaths feel, if anything, like a bizarrely satisfying homage to the Worms series of Team 17. The most creative aspect of Among Us is undoubtedly the ability to call a meeting between players when a dead body is found by someone. It is dangerous for all players, crewmates and imposters alike to place anyone in a lobby like that. Next to all those swearing allegations from Kurt Russell and his team in The Thing, it feels right at home. Although the Inner Sloth game does not feature the hot needle and blood test white knuckle stress, those desperate messages accusing each other of being the killer in Among Us can still get pretty heated. Even though the game won't see you losing your hands to an alien, being who can make a huge gaping mouth out of the stomach of a human. Everybody's a suspect. The game clearly does not use aliens' existential fear, and the mystery of where the killer comes from to hold you on edge, nor does it use the Thing's visceral carnage to petrify fans. But it's a fun ride thanks to the crew's light-hearted nature, if a little tense at times. The revival is primarily due to a variety of streamers from Twitch such as XQC, SR Carif, and Admiral Bulldog, all of which have drawn tens of thousands of views on their respective channels. Beating PUBG may have taken 2 years, but the game is now the most played title on Twitch, and the data shows that it really spiked in mid-September. And, predictably, the memes of Among Us spread like wildfire through social media, matching the growing popularity of the game, and even attracting more players. The passion for the game skyrocketed, so much that Among Us 2, promising to bring all the new content into the first game, was actually cancelled by Inner Sloth. Obviously, Alien went on to get 3 sequels and 2 prequels, which are certainly underestimated, but that's a point for another day. Well, The Thing got a prequel based on the Norwegian team in 2011. But the less we hear, the better. Among Us profits from the fact that vast lore and intricate story dynamics are not burdened. There's an assassin on board, and you find out who it is without dying. It's ridiculously fun, straight to the point, and we can't wait to see what else is coming from Inner Sloth on the way. Although it would be better if the developers could add Xenomorph skin to the store, visible only to imposters. Of course, that would be better.